Welcome. This is Jack Dennis. We're continuing today with more on our John Barr fly tying sessions. Today's session, he will be adding some touches to his, I call it groundbreaking nymph, the Copper John Nymph, where John will be adding some rubber legs and some different colored wire. So this will be his rubber leg Copper John with a twist. Before that, however, we're going to go to the Henry Fork River as John and Mike Lawson do a little bit of nymphing and talk about John's contribution to fly fishing. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. And then after that, we'll be on to learning some more historic information, insight into what John Barr has brought to the fly tying scene. Take it away.
Man, you can see that indicator, can't you?
Well, it's hard to see with that light, isn't it? Oh, that looked kind of like one there.
Good fish, Mike?
It's a pretty good fish. Yeah, he's good. And see, right now I don't know which nymph he's on because one of those nymphs is on 5X. Rubber leg Copper John.
That's a beautiful specimen.
This is what you come to the Box Canyon for. Hey, that's a good fish, John.
That's a beautiful
Probably 18 inches or so. Oh, geez, there he goes, John.
There he goes, nice fish.
But when I look at flies that come along, you know, I think of the muddler minnow as being one of those flies, and Adams.
Yeah.
And then this crazy looking fly shows up called the Copper John. And you know, now we've got some variations of it. There's a lot of colors of it. You know,
Yeah.
the first one was what it's just
Natural
what it says, copper with a bead head on it. And now that I know you do one with a rubber leg, which is responsible for that fish that we just landed and took off. And then you've been putting some with a little heavier weight, the tungsten bead. But
Yeah.
I mean, what a fly. And I just I've never really asked you, where'd you come up with it?
Yeah, Mike, I tell you, I'd love to share the story with you. Do you want to take a little break and
Yeah.
have a seat? And
You know, that last fish about wore me plumb out. Let's go down.
That fish would have worn anybody out.
Let's go sit down a minute.
It's kind of a fun story. So this fly was developed as a purpose fly, not to imitate any life form or anything. It evolved over about 3 years as a fly that would sink real fast, hopefully catch fish, and would attract fish so that you could put a real fly off the bend of it, like a little caddis peeper, a midge larva, or a mayfly emerger, or mayfly nymph, or whatever. And finally, the final version took about 3 years to evolve, and it turned out that the fly served its purpose. It just plummets when you're fishing under a hopper, so you can fish like little pockets behind rocks if you're floating or wading. And then it turned out it just catches all kinds of fish. Well, one other thing I'd like to add on the Copper John is it's a great lake fly. People don't realize what a good lake fly is.
Well, I do. It's unbelievable.
And, I mean, I just lucked into that factor because it was a purpose fly.
I'll tell you, John, it's. I mean, you hit a home run with it, and
Well, you've had a chance to see some of the flies work out on the stream, and some of you fly tyers out there are probably wondering, how does this man tie a Copper John? Well, you know, I was twisting his arm to try to get him to tie us a Copper John. He says, I'll do you one better. You're going to tie us the new and improved?
Yeah, Jack, I tell you, we've, for quite a few years now, we've been fishing the original, just tied on a straight hook. And
Boy, look at all the different colors.
You know, from chartreuse to red, natural copper to green.
Boy, look at that. Aren't those wonderful?
Blue. Yeah, and they all
Different
have their
sizes.
place. And yeah, we tie these from 22s through 12s.
The mini Copper Johns are in my fly box. Lots of them.
Okay. Never leave home without them, Jack.
Never leave home without them. That's for sure.
But anyway, we decided to kind of add a few new twists. Been working on some things. We ended up with tying the Copper John 2 on a curved hook. We're using a tungsten bead as well as the lead, so it's another plummeter.
Yeah.
It sinks real fast, but we're using 2 tones instead of 1 tone of copper. So we're using two strands of copper when we tie the body. So it just gives it a little different look, and it's been
no rubber legs
and rubber legs.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Well, Jack, when after I've spent time in Wyoming with you this last fall, I feel like I need to put rubber legs on everything.
Look, but let me tell you, they won't let you in the state without rubber legs.
I know. So I says, before I go fishing in Wyoming again, I better have something with rubber legs on it. But anyway, so should we get started?
I think we should get started. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Well, first of all, I'm going to ask you sizes.
Okay, this rubber leg tungsten bead curved hook Copper John is actually on 18s through 6s.
Oh, okay.
The big sizes are called Jumbo Johns.
Jumbo Johns, okay. I'll buy that.
Okay, and then the smaller version, they're on 10s through 18s. But it's on this really neat hook, this Tiemco 2499 SP, which is a 2 extra short, 3 extra wide. So you have tremendous hooking power, and it's got a great little point, a little owner point on it. So really it's the stickiest little hook I've ever fished. I mean, a fish looks at it and they're hooked. So it's on a really great hook. So we got our tungsten bead on there, and now just the
tungsten bead to help make it sink.
Yeah, we want that baby to sink down there.
Oh, 15 thousandths lead wire.
Yeah, and I use anywhere from 010 up to 030, depending on the size of the fly. This fly app calls for about 015. And we're going to add a little bit of lead here, even though it may seem like a little overkill, Jack. We want a fly that's going to really plummet and get down into the muddy water real quick.
Right. Notice that you're getting it right into the bead.
Yeah, and then after I wrap the lead on, I'm jamming it up inside the bead.
Perfect. Looks great.
So we got our lead on there. And then the next critical part of tying this fly is to use ultra thread.
Ultra thread, that's what you're UTC.
UTC
too many
thread.
numbers here.
Yeah, I'm trying to
too many numbers, too many letters.
Keep track of everything here. But anyway, yeah, the UTC ultra thread, and it comes in a 70 denier, which I'm using on this size fly. It comes in 140 and 280 for the bigger flies, and it's just great for building up a real fast underbody, which on the Copper Johns you want to do to get a nice taper.
And any of these materials they can, of course, get from Cabela's.
Absolutely.
Okay, next, goose biots.
Next.
I knew that.
Black goose biots.
Perfect.
And we're going to tie one end on each side.
They kind of curve off to the side, don't they?
Yeah, they kind of curve out. Tie them in so they curve out.
A little slack on that. This probably the trickiest part of this fly is actually tying the tail in.
And it's, and the length on them can be, and you want to just kind of even them up.
Yep.
And the length can vary. There isn't any etched in stone length on the thing. You can make them longer or shorter if you want. Then I just wrap the thread up over the butts of the biot, and that kind of helps build up that
taper,
that little taper right off the bat. And we're gonna cut those bad boys out, and then the next thing we're gonna do is tie in
ultra wire.
2 strands of ultra wire.
Yep. And I want to show everybody all the different colors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Come on, you got to show this here. Look at this. Put it up against John's shirt there. Isn't that something?
These aren't even all the colors. These are just the ones I use the most. They've got about twice this many colors.
Different sizes.
And those are 3 different sizes: small, brassy, and
small, medium, and large.
This is medium, brassy, and small, which I use most of the time. But they also make a large and an extra small.
Ooh,
and so it's the greatest stuff going. It's the best wire ever because it doesn't tarnish. All copper wire up until ultra wire always tarnished. So you tied something with a copper body, always ended up tarnishing. You can use.
Look looks great.
2 strands of wire.
Yep.
So we're going to have a two-tone effect. In this case, we've got black and olive. We're just going to tie those in together.
Black and olive, good bluing olive color.
Yeah, and actually makes a great green drake nymph.
We won't tell Lawson that, will it?
No,
No,
don't
okay.
tell Mike. And so you're going to wrap right down to where your buyouts are tied in.
Right?
And then you're going to wrap back up, and this thread lays in so nice and flat, you can kind of work your way around and get you a nice taper going. And have a real nice flat base to wrap your wire over.
Now you just bring it down underneath.
Yeah, and just hold them together, kind of pinch them together. The first wrap's always the tough one, then once you get them going, it just falls in real nice.
Very nice.
And you can just use a variety of combinations. And you want to leave yourself a little room for the thorax and the legs and the wing case.
Notice you're using some serious scissors there.
Yeah, just little side cutters. Next step is we're gonna tie in our wing case. And the first step in that is to use a little piece of silver holographic flashaboo.
Let's see, silver holographic. Look at this.
Woo! Yeah, I mean, that's
Enough to make you go blind, isn't it?
So as you can see, one strand gives off lots. It's almost like a prismatic effect. It's just, I love this stuff. We're gonna
Wrap a little back into the wire,
so it's
right?
right on top. Yeah, wrap back into the wire. I mean, I usually wrap my wire a little long, and then just so that way it's never too short,
Right.
if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Okay, next step is
Thin skin.
another fantastic material from Wapsi. I use it for all my wing cases. It's tough. It comes in all kinds of great colors. Here's a little piece I cut.
Ooh, I like the looks of that.
Yeah, this is hot stuff. And we're going to tie this in right on top. And then a little bit over the wire there.
Yep, I see that.
So we've got, and what we're going to do is bring this back over when we finish the fly.
Yep, looking good.
And on the original Copper Johns, we used peacock, but on this one, we decided to use a peacock dubbing, just because it's easier to lay those
We got it. Okay.
rubber legs in
Okay,
there.
there we go. Okay.
So we're just going to put a little
Peacock
dubbing
dubbing.
on here.
And
Okay, next step, we're going to put the legs in, and we're just going to put a little small rubber leg on each side.
what kind of rubber legs are those? Just a small round rubber?
Yeah,
leg?
small round rubber leg.
Okay. And you can get those in all different sizes.
Oh yeah, they come from micro to
Oh, yeah.
regular.
You don't have to worry about rubber legs anymore. There's plenty of them out there. Okay, but one on one side,
Yeah,
one
and
on the other.
just kind of Madamex style.
Madamex style.
Yeah, so they're just kind of sticking out.
Yep.
Okay, then before I pull that wing case over, going to add just a little bit more dubbing. And just kind of cover up the area where we wrap the. That's good.
Or we wrap the legs in there.
Where we wrap the legs in, yeah. And we're just gonna
Wrap up to the eye.
wrap up to the behind the bead, and we'll pull the thin skin over everything. Tie it up. I use one wrap to kind of secure it.
Oh, that's
And
looking
center
real
your holographic
good.
silver
Look how that
flashaboo.
shines.
Huh?
Look how that shines.
Isn't it?
Oh,
That's it's
very
amazing.
impressive.
It's amazing the reflective ability of.
Okay, we're coming down on the
So
end of this, aren't we?
our fly's done.
Oh my gosh.
I'll just do my stupid whip finish here. And I usually just do two turns over the thread because I'm going to epoxy this whole thing. But finished. But anyway, that baby's done, except for putting some epoxy now over the wing case.
Aha.
So that's the final step. And these legs, there's no, again, hard, fast rule. But, you know, just so they kind of look good to you. You can have them real long,
Okay,
real short.
that's good.
That looks pretty good. And I use a toothpick to mix it, and a toothpick. Yeah, so you just put a little epoxy across the back, and you're done.
Just a little 5-minute epoxy you buy at the hardware store?
You know, yeah, I mean, I like 30-minute epoxy because it stays clear longer than the 5-minute epoxy. If I'm in a hurry, I'll use my 5-minute epoxy. But what'll happen is they'll discolor with time. And so that's why I like the 30-minute. It just stays clear longer on the fly. So we've got just kind of a buggy looking fly, that two-tone black and olive. We got the rubber legs, which, you know, of course, if you live in Wyoming, you probably don't have a fly without rubber legs. Even your tricos probably have rubber legs, don't they, Jack?
Well, John, it's fantastic. I want you to fork that one over here.
You got it. So remember, Jack, it's got 30-minute epoxy, so it'll stick to your sweater.
Hey, it's really great doing this Our Favorite Flies video with you, and being able to come here to Denver to your beautiful home, and you know, this is sort of a private thing to come down in your tying area.
It's my pleasure having you, Jack.
Thanks very much. Looking forward to next time, and hope everybody enjoys this tying session. I know we're going to be twisting your arm for you to reveal some more.